Welcome to Make Your Mark podcast, where guests share their experiences, insights, and tactics to help you accelerate your business. So building, scaling, and monetizing your business is made easier. And I will be your host, Kay Suthar. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Make Your Mark podcast. I'm your host, Kay Suthar, and oh my goodness, I have an amazing guest for us today. When I first met her and I heard what she does, I knew I had to have her on the show, right? Not only does she look amazing, her office is off the charts, looks so immaculate, but I knew that entrepreneurs and business owners need to get in contact with her, need to find out, what she does for her clients, because she is a top-notch stylist. Not only does she actually coach people on how to, style themselves, what kind of outfits, what colors, and I've learned so much about what styling actually means. There's so much involved, guys. I had no idea. And today we're going to go more in depth about what the world of styling actually means as a business owner and an entrepreneur. Please welcome onto the stage Yvonne Henderson Decker. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you, Kay. Thank you for having me.
No worries. And there is so much information to get through on this topic, right? No idea. Because I was like, well, when you're little, you end up, learning to dress yourself, right? But I didn't realize some of the things that people take for granted. And as a business owner and entrepreneur, there's things that we need to learn about ourselves when we're branding and building our business, right? Now, before we get into all of that nitty gritty, how did you come about building a business like this? Where did that all start from?
Well, actually, what inspired me to do it goes back to when I was little. And I felt like I got bullied when I was little.
Okay.
I didn't hang out with the popular kids. I felt invisible and forgotten. And so, even a teacher asked me one time if I was crippled. And I said, what? No. And she asked, well, why do you walk that way? So I learned very early on that the way you talk, the way you walk, and the way you act are very, very important because it can mean the difference between being visible and invisible,
Right.
And so it started way back then.
Wow. Okay. And so, I guess it's taken you a while to get to this point, right? Because there is so much involved. And so tell me a little bit about what kind of steps you had to take to now become this professional, because every time I see you, you look amazing. You look absolutely on point. Your office behind you, oh my God. Like everyone always comments, like, is that a virtual background or is that real? Because it looks so immaculate, right? And so not only do you style people, but I guess you're going to start styling their offices now, right? It looks
Yes.
so awesome. So that's amazing. But tell us a little bit about the steps it took you to get to this point in building this business to what you have.
Yes. So I worked in corporate America for a bit, and I noticed how people behaved, how they treated other people, how they dressed, and so forth. And so I started to develop my own style. And what I did is I purchased a sewing machine and I started to create my own style. I bought both patterns. I taught myself how to sew, and I started to create this. And then I noticed the attention that I was getting. So I knew there was a correlation between how you show up and what people think about you.
Right.
So fast forward some years, I came across an image consulting school called the London Image Institute. And I went there and I was blown away because everything that they taught us was what I felt I wanted to do for people.
Wow.
Yes. And, I want to add this little bit. When I was 18, I was at a meeting and they asked the new people to stand up to tell their name.
Okay.
And I stood up, my knees were shaking, and I could hardly say who I was. And so later on, someone said to me who went to my church, said, I feel like you are going to be a speaker.
Ooh.
What? I can barely say my name, let alone being a speaker. And so, but I did gain confidence. I did stand firm in who I was as a person. And so I went through this training. And when I came back, people were saying, there's something different about you. Because during this training, my image coach helped us to fill in the holes in our, those gaps in our appearance, behaviors, and business and communication skills. So that's what I do as an image consultant. Part of what I do is I do work with your appearance, your clothing, your colors, and things like that. But I also help you with your business behaviors.
Ooh.
Dining etiquette, how to give a presentation, and then communication skills. So basically, it's your appearance, your nonverbal, and your verbal communication. Because after all of those things are communicating something to people.
Interesting. Okay, so you brought up a couple of things there for me, right? First of all, you mentioned that, when you're working in corporate, you notice how people behaved, right? And so I know in corporate, a lot of times you get told to wear like blacks and greys and a white shirt and these flat shoes that don't look very attractive at all, right? Flat black shoes. Now, so what is the difference, right, when it comes to the corporate world, to the business entrepreneurial world that you see when it comes to behaviors and styling and things like that? What was the biggest difference?
Well, the biggest difference was when you see executives, they were wearing suits and their white shirts and ties and everything, which was appropriate for them. And then the colors, which the darker colors indicate more of a classic look, which belong in more traditional, business attire. And with entrepreneurs, in order to create your brand, you want to wear the colors and have all the things that go along with your branding, branding yourself. And so for some people that may not need a suit with a white shirt and a tie. For others, it might be. So it depends on, who you are and your signature style and what you want to communicate to the world about you and your business.
And so it sounds like there's more freedom, right? As an entrepreneur business owner, you can set how you want to kind of portray yourself, right?
Yes.
And I guess some of the greats, like I know Gary Vee, you never see him in a suit, right? He's in a t-shirt, he's in jeans, but that's his thing.
Yes.
Whereas corporate, you get told how to dress, right? Even though it doesn't compliment you in any way, it doesn't set you apart or make you stand out. Everybody's dressing the same. It's almost like a uniform, right? But in business, you got to do the opposite. You got to be able to stand out, brand yourself. People know who you are when you walk in, right? You're talking about behaviors, the way you walk, the way, body language, all of that good stuff, right? Which I guess people take for granted in corporate. which is a big difference, in fact. I love that.
Mhm.
And so you also mentioned, wearing like your brand colors. Does that mean if your brand is orange, for example, all you got to do is walk around in orange clothing?
No.
So tell us how that works.
Well, it depends because in terms of colors, for example, I'm a warm color palette, so but I love colors that are in the cool, but my brand colors are purple and white. And fortunately, I like my picture I have on a purple jacket, and that just happened. But I love it because, in my case, I can match my brand. But more than colors, there's other things that go with.
Oh, what's that then?
So what I want to tell you is that when people meet you,
Mm,
they judge you by how you look.
right.
So what that means is they're looking at your clothing and they're deciding how intelligent you are,
Mm.
how much money you make, if you're friendly, if you're approachable, and so forth. So you can actually control what other people think about you by the way you dress.
Right.
Now, for example, it's Gary V. Gary V.
Gary
So
Vee.
for
Yeah.
yes, so for example, I don't know if he started out wearing t-shirts, but before he became famous, if people saw him in t-shirts, they may not have approached him
Ah.
because that type of clothing is not saying anything about who you are.
Mm.
You can't wear your degrees, your experience on your back. And
Right.
so, in order to invite people in to know the dynamic you have to first have your appearance intact so that people will want to get to know you. You
Okay.
know,
So this brings up a few things for me, because I'm like, well, if you got to behave a certain way, then you're not being your authentic you, right? It's
okay,
almost like you're putting on an act, right? To portray yourself as your audience wants you to, right? Or have I got that completely wrong?
yes, it's not about being who they want you to be. It's about showing them who you are.
Okay.
So, for example, you said every time you see me, for example,
Hmm.
how I appear. That's the point right there.
Right.
I love suits. That's my brand. That's who I am because I want to help other people understand I can help you. But no matter what your style is, and we deep dive to find out what that is. It may not be
Ah,
wearing suits. Okay.
okay.
So every time someone sees you and you are dressed in a certain way, they begin to look at you as a person of quality, responsibility, and success.
Mm.
Now, okay, so as a police officer, once upon a time, you wore a uniform,
Yep.
and that uniform told people who you were. It wasn't what they thought who you were. Your uniform said, I am a police officer and I'm to be respected.
Hmm.
Okay. Without that, how can you approach someone to say, let me see your license or,
Right.
let me read you your rights?
Yeah.
So what you're wearing is very important in the sense that it lets people know who you are, what you're doing, and, just that you are serious about what you want to communicate to the world about yourself.
Okay. And so another important thing that you mentioned, right, was that I guess if you're starting out in your very beginning stages and not everyone knows you, you don't have that celebrity status like Gary Vee yet, right? It's important to make sure that you are being portrayed as a professional. And when you build up, that credibility, then basically you can dress how you want because you already put the work in. Is that right?
Well, yes, that's right. But you still want to establish, you still want to stay with your brand. So yes, if a person that, Gary Vee decided to wear t-shirts, and there are other people who decide to do that. Now, I think Les Brown wears suits or jackets,
Yes.
doesn't he?
Yes.
So that's his style. And if you saw him in a t-shirt, you might think, what's going on,
Yeah.
And the same for Gary Vee now. If he had on a suit, it'd be like, whoa. But it wouldn't hurt him if he wore a jacket with a t-shirt, because the jacket always makes you look more professional, even if you're wearing jeans.
Yes, and do you know what? You just mentioned like Les Brown and Gary Vee, and I'm like, even our late Queen, you would never see her in a t-shirt.
That's right. That's right.
Because she was a queen, right? So she has to dress appropriately at all times, especially when she's doing public appearances. And she was always dressed on point. She was always in a jacket and a blouse and the right shoes and everything matching and a handbag because she was the queen.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So she was representing who she was to the people.
Yeah.
And they began to expect that of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if she showed up in a t-shirt, you would know something is wrong. The queen has lost her mind.
Most definitely. Oh my goodness. And so, Yvonne, tell us a little bit about, some clients that you've been working with, and what are like the most common mistakes that people make?
So one of the common mistakes people make, for example, is they mix up their styles. And so the things that you're wearing and so forth send messages to people. So what I mean by that is there are different styles, categories that people fit into. Some people like a romantic look. So that would be ruffles and, flowers and things like that.
Right.
Some people I'm a classic elegant. So I like suits and quality things and leather and stuff like that. And then you have someone who's natural. They like clean, simple outfits. They can wear a jacket, but it would be a simple jacket, neutral color, and maybe a t-shirt, And then someone who's alluring likes to wear form-fitting clothes. Right. Now, they could wear a jacket and have on a dress that would fit their body. So for example, if you take someone who is let's say, like a very structured, let's say a pinstripe jacket, and you wore it with a flowered skirt.
Right.
That's mixing style. So you want, when you're wearing a jacket like that, a suit, you want it to be structured. Okay. There is a type of jacket that goes with that floral type of dress, right? So you should stay in your style category so that it doesn't send mixed messages.
Okay. And so how would you determine, what colors you should wear, what colors suit you, what patterns, and what your style is. Because I guess as growing up, I know me, I wouldn't put a blazer on a floral skirt, but I like to mix and match styles up, right? And so how would we determine what actually suits us and our body type?
Yes. Well, I do several assessments. I do a body type assessment to determine what your proportions are. Because let's say someone is short in the waist and they have very long legs. We want, the point is, you want people to look in balance.
Right.
So I would choose an outfit that would elongate their upper portion so that it looks more balanced with their legs. So that's one thing. And then the other thing I would do is a color analysis. So I would determine whether you're warm or cool,
Right.
and then those colors that suit you. And there's a lot that goes into that because it's your eye color and your hair color, and all of that also determines, what colors will best suit.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna pick your brain here, right? I'm gonna get you to do a little bit of coaching on me. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm 4'11". I'm
Okay.
small, right? I don't have long legs, although I like to tell people that I do, especially on Zoom, because I can get away with it. Um, right. So I'm a very small person, right? So I mean, I cannot elongate my legs, right? Unless, like, if I wear like skinny jeans, then I might look taller than I actually am. But for someone that's small, how do we emphasize our features a little bit more?
Okay. One thing you can do, and for example, to look taller, you want to elongate the body. So you want to create a column of color. That
Oh,
means you would wear the same color on top as you have on the bottom.
interesting.
Okay. Because then that helps you look longer.
Okay, so if I'm wearing black at the top like I am right now, I should be wearing black bottoms too. Ah,
Yes, but it also depends on your body proportions. Now, are you long waisted, short waisted? You have shorter legs from
yeah,
the waist down.
I've got short legs and short at the top. I'm just a tiny.
Okay, so you're in balance. So you could wear a different colored top and pants.
Oh,
Okay, you could do that,
okay.
but to make you look taller, that's what you can wear, a column of color, but you can also change colors and have a coordinating colors on top and bottom because you are more in balance. Now, some people aren't. Now, if I had somebody who had a very short waist and very long legs who were 4'11", then they definitely should have that column of color, because as you can envision, if they have on a white top and dark pants or jeans or red pants or whatever, you would very easily see that they're short waisted.
I see. Okay.
Okay. So
Oh,
it's all about balance.
okay. That's so funny because all this time, right? I was like, oh my goodness, no, you don't ever wear the same color tops, same bottom. That's just a clash right there, right? It's always got to be different. But okay, so I've learned something new there. So thank you very much for that. That's really interesting. Now, Yvonne, there's a lot of things around, image consulting and styling that a lot of people don't know. I mean, just on this conversation that we've had, I've learned so many things already. And so, tell me a little bit about podcasting and what you do to get the education and value out, and how podcasting has actually helped you and your business.
Yes, podcasting has helped me to have more visibility. And that's what I'm looking to do, is to have more visibility and let people know what I do and why it's important. And it's just been exciting to, be on stage with a podcaster such as yourself. And, and it's fun. It's a fun way to show the world who you are.
And so when you first started guesting on podcasts, were you at all nervous? Or was it really quite easy for you to get out there and start telling people what you do and educating them?
Well, here's the interesting thing. I have been a speaker in person for many years, and so I'm very comfortable speaking in person. However, when it came to podcasting and being a guest via video, it was it was kind of nerve-wracking to see myself,
Ah,
on screen and, worried about hair being out of place and all of these things.
right.
So, but I, by being on podcasts, it's helped me to sort of ignore myself and to, just be in the moment and try to help, not focus on me, but focus on me.
Okay, all right. So there was new things that you learned about yourself because this was a different, I guess, a different way of kind of speaking and getting yourself out there compared to a live stage, right?
Yes.
So that's fantastic. Now, would you recommend other business owners and entrepreneurs to get out and do guest podcasting if they're not already doing so?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the podcaster has their own audience, and you will be able to reach people that you never could have reached, otherwise. And
That's
so I
right.
highly recommend, and it gives you a chance to explain your business, who you are, how you got into it. And it's really a wonderful platform.
Wow, amazing, amazing. And Yvonne, you are doing a fantastic job on educating people, getting yourself out there, letting them know, what the common mistakes are that we, I guess, ingrained since we were younger. We need to change those habits. And I love talking to you and learning from you every time we speak. Thank you for coming on to the show. Now, if people want to connect with you and want to reach out and learn more, where can they go?
They can go to my website, which is thesignatureimage.net.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Guys, all links will be in the show notes. So make sure you scroll down if you missed anything. And guys, if you're not podcasting, if you're not a guest on podcasting and you're not getting your your business out there, your brand out there, you need to start right now. And if you're thinking about starting your own podcast, then do that too. This is your own platform. You make the rules. Get your podcast launched, and if you need any information, any advice, then make sure you contact me and go to makeyourmarkagency.com and reach out, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with you around podcasting. Yvonne, thank you so much for coming on the show. You are an absolute rock star.
Thank you so much, and so are you. I love it. Thank you so much, Kay.
Thanks for listening to Make Your Mark podcast at www.makeyourmarkpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you in advance for all the reviews and comments. I appreciate it so much, and I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.